So in this video, I'm going to be breaking down different types of centre forwards that Ten Hag could use in his system to replace Ronaldo, specifically looking at the role of the false 9, how they could bring the best out of Rashford, Martial and Sancho, and 2 signings that United could make, with one of them being one of the best young players in world football at the moment. But before I go any further, if you need a place where you can keep up to date with the latest transfer news, find all the match stats you need from games across the globe, and watch highlights and stream live football matches, then you need to download the OneFootball app. I use the OneFootball app because it's completely free, and not only do they have stats and transfer news, but they also have videos to watch and articles to read, which is where I get a lot of my ideas for new videos. And as I said before, you can stream live football matches and watch highlights all on the app. Downloading the OneFootball app will help support the channel as well, so I'll leave it linked in the description below. So as we enter the last month of the transfer window, Cristiano Ronaldo's future is still unclear, but even if he does stay, United and Ten Hag do need to be looking ahead to life without the 37-year-old, who has just 1 year left on his United contract, despite having the option to extend it for a further year. But what do United actually need from a new centre forward? Well, I do think that Ten Hag could use a range of different types of centre forward, from a false 9 creative type like Dusan Tadic during the 2018-19 season at Ajax, or using more of a target man and goal scorer like Sebastian Haller last season. As we've seen from pre-season, the interplay and the link-up between the front three Martial, Rashford and Sancho in most games so far is crucial to United's swift attacking play. And so any centre forward brought in will need to have exceptional ball control and link-up play to suit this style of attack. Having a centre forward like Romelu Lukaku or Darwin Núñez in attack, whilst being useful in the final third, specifically in the box, would lead to a lot of United's attacks breaking down before they even reach the box. And that is why I was against Darwin Núñez joining United, even when it looked like United were the front runners, as stylistically it just didn't seem to fit for me. But obviously, just being a creative forward isn't enough at the top level, so essentially United are looking for the most complete striker they can get. The ability to link the play in the middle and final thirds when the attack is being transitioned quickly is crucial, but also is having the goal scoring and goal creating ability to add another 20 to 25 goals to the side in goal contributions. This type of complete forward isn't easy to find, and so concessions will have to inevitably be made in certain areas. And this is where I think it's crucial that we outline different types of players for different types of roles. Ten Hag could opt to use an advanced forward whose primary job would be to score goals and offer a threat in the box, whether this is through his movement in behind or from crossing situations. An advanced forward could be a nimble poacher type like Ciro Immobile, Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang or Mauro Icardi, or you could use an advanced forward who is more of a physical and aerial threat, someone like Sebastian Haller, Erling Haaland or Cristiano Ronaldo. On the other hand, Ten Hag could use a deeper lying forward, whose job it is to link the play and then make moves into the final third to get into goal scoring positions, which is the role that players like Karim Benzema, Robert Lewandowski and Anthony Martial on occasion all play. But there are also deep lying forwards that fall more into the false 9 category, players who don't just drop off to link the attack and then look to get into goal scoring positions, but players who drop deep in behind the opposition's midfield to get on the ball and be a playmaker, rather than a sole goal scorer. The best example of this would be Lionel Messi in Pep Guardiola's Barcelona side, during his first season in charge in 08-09, and the most memorable game from that season was the 6-2 thrashing of Real Madrid, where the false 9 really came to prominence in front of the world. In that game, Barcelona lined up in a 4-3-3, and it seemed like Lionel Messi would play from the right side, with Samuel Eto'o playing down the middle and Thierry Henry from the left. However, during the game it appeared that Messi was playing more as a centre forward, dropping off from the forward line and sitting in behind the Real Madrid midfield, whilst Henry and Eto'o played as inside forwards from either side, looking to make runs off of Messi's deeper movement, as here we can see Metzelder, the Real Madrid left-sided centre-back, is being pulled towards Messi in that deeper position, creating the space between him and Cannavaro for Eto'o to potentially make a curved run into. We see here that Messi as a centre forward has dropped off into a playmaking position, and because Real Madrid centre backs don't want to follow him into the midfield, you can see that Cannavaro is caught between two minds, and so rather than holding his position in the back line or following Messi, he does a mixture of the two, creating that space in behind for Henry to play the ball to Messi and then make an instant run into that space. And this is where the playmaking ability of the false 9 comes into play, as Messi lofts the ball over Ramos, who for whatever insane reason decides to attempt a ridiculous acrobatic clearance, obviously misses the ball completely and allows Henry all the time he wants to slot the ball past Casillas. But relating this to Manchester United, if Ten Hag wanted to replicate this front three, he could use a false 9 in Messi's position, dropping off and providing a positional dilemma for the opposition centre-backs, whilst the inside forwards, either Rashford or Martial from the left, and Sancho from the right, look to make those inside forward diagonal runs into goal-scoring positions, and so in this front three, it would be the centre-forward that would be the playmaker, whilst the two wide attackers would be the goal-scorers, which is the same setup that we've seen Klopp be so successful with at Liverpool, with Firmino playing primarily as a playmaker, and Salah and Mane either side as the goal scorers, and in my opinion this inside forward role is perfect for both Rashford and Martial, who both have deficiencies in possession and with the ball at their feet, but are very good when linking the play quickly with one-touch interplay and making those runs into goal-scoring positions, from where their finishing when they are on form can be top level. Now a lot of you are probably wondering why Martial can't just play that false 9 role, and I would say that he's more of a deeper lying forward, because whilst he can drop off and link the attack, he does this with his back to goal under pressure with short sharp passes before then making a movement forward, rather than playing as a playmaker and holding a deeper position, because he doesn't have the vision or creative passing needed to perform this role at the top level. If Ten Hag did want to use a false 9, he could maybe experiment with Bruno Fernandes in this role, although I would prefer a player who's a better close control dribbler in this position, and instead have Fernandes being one of the players making forward runs ahead of the false 9's deeper movement into goal scoring positions. I actually think that Jadon Sancho would be the best fit out of all of the current United players, as he has the ability to link the play in congested areas, is a very good close control dribbler, and also has the vision and creative passing needed to play this role. So currently, if Ten Hag wanted to use a false 9, I'd have Sancho in that role, with Rashford and Martial as a wide forwards either side, and Bruno Fernandes behind, making the runs off of him when he drops deep, as Messi did for Barcelona in the example I gave. However, if United wanted to replace Ronaldo properly, and Ten Hag also wanted to use more of a false 9 centre forward, then I think there are two pretty good options for this role, a premium option and a cheaper, more realistic option, as the window is now coming to an end, and so it's worth exploring all options. I'll start with the cheaper option, which is Joaquin Correa at Inter Milan. Now the 27-year-old Argentine did only join Inter Milan from Lazio in a deal last summer worth around 30 million euros. However, there are reports that Inter would be willing to allow him to leave for around the same fee, which would likely be between 25 and 30 million pounds. Last season in Serie A, he scored 6 goals in 26 games. The season before that, he scored 8 in 28 games for Lazio, and in 2019-2020, it was 9 in 30. So we can see that Correa isn't a prolific goal scorer. However, in this false 9 role, the emphasis is more on the player's ability to progress the ball forward, create space and chances for others. And with Correa being much more of a natural midfielder than a striker, I think he definitely suits this role perfectly. He's a very good close control dribbler, as despite his lanky 6'2" frame, he's able to intricately dribble past opposition players in congested areas. He also likes to drop off from the forward line into space, receive the ball and then link the play quickly, the exact trait that is arguably the most important for a false 9. However, despite his lack of goal scoring, I do think that this is more down to him not getting as many chances from the role that he plays, or getting the necessary game time needed. As when we do look at his FB ref report, we can see that not only does he rank in the low 80s for non-penalty goals and the high 60s for non-penalty XG, but he also overperforms his non-penalty XG by a pretty impressive 0.10 per 90. What this shows is that Correa over the past 365 days has actually proven he can be a good goal scorer if given the opportunities, but a major issue beyond getting those chances is getting on the pitch, as he's only played 1,136 minutes last year for Inter Milan, and so I think if at Manchester United he's guaranteed more game time, he will be getting into at least double figures for goals in the Premier League. But his impressive FB ref report doesn't stop there, as he also ranks in the 90th percentile or higher for metrics like progressive passes and progressive carries, whilst also ranking very high for pass completion and touches in the penalty area, which tells me that Correa is very involved in the attack, rarely giving away possession, whilst also being able to progress the attack forward through his passing and ball carrying. His expected assist rate ranks in the 74th percentile, which is impressive, and his defensive metrics show that he does have the ability to function in a role where there is a high level of defensive output needed. So would Joaquin Correa be a signing that would radically change United's season? No. Is he a very good complementary player for a system that would bring the best out of other players? Yes, and that's why I think Correa for around £30 million would be an extremely shrewd signing for Ten Hag and United. Alternatively, my premium first choice option for this position would be Atletico Madrid's João Felix. Felix is a player I really like, and even though it's kind of a ridiculous comparison, I genuinely think that he's a player in the modern game who's closest in style to false 9 Messi of 2008-2009. This is because, like Messi in his early 20s, Felix is an outstanding dribbler, able to drop off between the lines, receive the ball, and even turn sharply as he receives the ball, wrong-footing the defender, or he can use his close ball control and balance to thread a dribble around oncoming defenders in order to progress the ball forward. He's elegant but also effective, having the vision and creative passing to see and then play a through ball or a cross to create a chance, something that Joaquin Correa can do, just not to the same level or as consistently. He managed 8 goals in 23 La Liga matches, almost 1 in 3 and 9 in 33 in all competitions. So like Correa, at this point in his career, he isn't a prolific goal scorer. However, if you look at his goals, he does score. You can see his striking ability. He's a very good shooter around the box and a good finisher in one-on-ones. And to me, this shows that Felix could be a player like Lautaro Martinez or Mo Salah, where as he develops, drastically improves his overall movement to get chances and finishing when in those positions. If he can add this to his game, which I believe he can do, as he gets older, as he is only 22, but also when he plays in a more attack-minded side than Atletico Madrid, which I do think plays a massive part, I think we will then see him add this to his game. His FBref report lends statistical weight to my argument, as he massively overperforms his non-penalty XG by a pretty significant 0.16 per 90, seeing him rank in the 75th percentile for non-penalty goals when compared against every other forward in Europe's top 5 leagues, whilst he also sits in the 31st percentile for non-penalty XG, which tells me that it's the team and the system that Felix is in that is stifling his goal scoring output. And that if he's put into a team that creates more chances, not only can he consistently meet or overperform his non-penalty XG, but he'll also be picking up between 15 and 20 goals each season. Combine this with his already phenomenal ball progression metrics and his expected assist rate ranking in the 89th percentile, and you have a false 9 who is not just a top level ball progressor and chance creator, who already stylistically suits the role that he would play in Ten Hag's system, but also a player who can provide the goal scoring output that distinguishes very good forwards from the world class ones. Now, being 22 and having 4 years left on his contract, and also being signed for £113 million in 2019, does make you assume that he's going to cost an astronomical fee. However, I do think that Atletico Madrid may be willing to listen to offers around the £90 to £100 million mark, maybe being prepared to admit they overpaid 3 years ago and see the opportunity to recoup some of their investment. Now, £90 million is still a lot, but maybe United could use some of their fringe players in a swap deal. Atletico do still need a right back after the departures of Trippier and Vasako in 2022, and Wan-Bissaka would be well suited to Simeone's more defensive pragmatic approach. Wan-Bissaka should be valued at around £30 million, which would mean a deal of between £60 to £70 million, plus Wan-Bissaka could be enough to get João Felix. Lindelof is there as well, now the 4th choice centre-back, and he'd also be valued at around £30 million. Donny van de Beek is a player I'd be happy to allow to leave, but I don't think he suits Simeone's system, so that would be an unlikely option in my opinion. But even throwing in Alex Telles alongside Lindelof or Wan-Bissaka could bring the cost down further and get wages off of the books, but more importantly would give United a top level player who has world class potential and is still only 22, fulfilling a role that United desperately need filling, with both Greenwood and Ronaldo having uncertain futures for very different reasons. So thank you for watching, subscribe to the channel, check the description for more videos, give the video a like, and follow my Instagram and Twitter for more content as well.